Hello Internet, welcome to Games Done Wrongish. Hey guys, I've recently been playing Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. For those of you that follow me on Twitch, Mixer or even Twitter, you'll already know this. This game's only around 7 or 8 hours long. Unfortunately, it's taken me about 3 weeks to get it done. The reason being, after my first streaming session on day 1, my internet went down the next day, so I didn't get to play it at all then. I then got back up after the weekend because I think it was Thursday when I started it or something like that. Then it was Friday, I couldn't play at all. Then the weekend, on Monday I came back and I was able to play for another session then. But then all of a sudden that evening my Xbox decided it was going to start overheating. I have the Xbox One X and for some reason it started to overheat. For no apparent reason. I mean, it's well ventilated, it's clean, there's no dust around it, there's nothing blocking its airways. It just started to shut down, and then when I turned it back on I got an error message saying it had overheated. So anyway, I sent it off to Microsoft, to their service repair center over in Germany, and about 2 weeks later I got it back and I was able to finally do the third session, which finished the game after re-downloading it again. But anyway, despite those struggles, I was able to persevere and carry on and get the game done, this review, and I will also be posting up my play sessions to this YouTube channel the day after this video releases, so tomorrow. Now, without further ado, let's get down to the actual review. I'd been wanting to play Hellblade ever since I heard about it back in 2017. Unfortunately, at that time they did not release an Xbox version and it was only available to play on the PS4 or PC. While I could have got it for either of those platforms, as I do own a mid-range PC and a PS4, I am more at home playing games on the Xbox, so I left it be. Then in 2018 it was announced that it would be coming to Xbox along with Microsoft acquiring the studio that made the game, Ninja Theory. Finally I thought, I will get to play this game that I have heard so much about on my console of choice. I then instantly forgot about it again until I started doing these Game Pass reviews and the game was added to the Xbox Game Pass. Once it was on Game Pass, I added it to my list and eagerly awaited its turn. So here we are, around a year and a half later than its initial release, I get to play it. It starts out fairly slowly and does not instantly inform you of who you are, where you are, or what the story is about. Instead, this is all unveiled throughout the playthrough. Early on you are introduced to the Furies in Senua's head. Senua being the main character you will be playing in the game, and the Furies being the voices in Senua's head that comment, guide or distract her throughout. The voices are what most people may associate with their conscious mind, in that they will be advising Senua to be daring and cautious at the same time, telling her to look and not look at something dangerous or traumatic. The difference between most people and Senua is that to her, her voices are very real and sometimes overpowering. The Furies, however, can also be very helpful in combat situations. They will scream out, "Watch out," when she is being attacked from the flank, or behind you when an attack is coming from behind. This helps you know when these attacks are coming and gives you just enough time to dodge out of the way. Pressing the A button whilst in combat will allow you to dodge in the direction you are holding on the left stick at the time. You also have a block ability which is activated by pressing the right bumper button. If you time the block perfectly, you can parry an enemy, knocking them back and dazing them for a few seconds, allowing you to follow up with your own attacks. Your attacks are pretty straightforward. You have a light attack on the X button and a heavy attack on the Y button. You also have a melee or kick attack on the B button. You will need to use these to your advantage. For instance, some enemies will be wielding a shield, so in order to be able to attack them you will need to press B and melee them first, often kicking their shield and making them fall prone or stumble, opening them up for attack. Other enemies may be immune to your light attacks, so you will need to ensure that you have enough time and space to pull off a heavy attack before getting back into a defensive position. Lastly, you have a focus ability on the right trigger. Sometimes an enemy will be cast in shadow and your attacks seem to pass right through them. Pressing the focus button will bring their form into focus and your attacks will then strike true. The focus ability will also slow things down a bit, kind of like the max pain bullet time. This will allow you to get in more attacks or flank the enemy much easier. The focus ability, unlike most of the other abilities mentioned in the combat section, can be used outside of combat. This will be your main ability for solving the puzzles in the game. Early on in the game you will find circle-shaped totems with a number of signs or runes moving around on them. Using your focus ability on these totems will trigger a memory or a conversation Senua once had with her deceased friend Druth. Druth was once a prisoner of the Northmen and had many stories to tell Senua about the Northmen and the gods they followed, such as Odin, Loki and Hela. This ties in with the main goal and story to the game. As you unravel the events and memories in Senua's mind, you start to find out that she is on a quest to rescue her true love Dillion from the grips of Hela within Helheim. Dillion was once a warrior, and it seems that he had fallen in battle and used as a blood eagle sacrifice to Hela. Senua is therefore carrying his severed head in a bag, as she believes that if she can deliver it to his soul in Helheim, she can somehow claim his soul back from the goddess Hela, who she believes is holding him captive. To get into Helheim and confront Hela, Senua must pass many trials and tribulations. Along the way are puzzles that Senua must solve. Most of these require Senua to find a locked door with a rune symbol on it and then find that same symbol out in the world. This is often found by finding shadows cast upon a wall or the ground that resemble that same symbol. Sometimes they are already being cast and it's just a matter of standing in the right spot to see it. Other times you will need to light a pyre or move something else into place to create the shadow or structure that resembles the symbol you are looking for. There can be just one or sometimes up to 3 symbols required to open the door to the next area. The game is on a very strict linear path in this respect. You are moved from area to area with a puzzle or 2 to solve and a few scripted battles along the way. The enemies that you encounter are not too difficult to overcome. They start out simple enough and do become stronger and faster as you progress. Some will carry shields and some will take more damage and wield a 2-handed weapon, making them harder to hit. But all in all, once you figure out how to defeat each enemy type easily, you should not have much difficulty. There is, however, one thing you need to be very aware of in this game. The game does have a permadeath state. Luckily enough, I never triggered it on my playthrough, although I feel I came very close and I was playing it on the easy combat difficulty. The combat as such was not the reason I came close. The reason I came close to the permadeath state is down to what seemed to be a glitch or bug that I seem to have triggered. The permadeath state will occur when you fail a set amount of times. Each time you fail in combat or in a scene in which you need to avoid danger such as fire, you will be inflicted with rot. This symbolises the darkness or the mental condition Senua has growing inside her. If this rot can travel high enough up her arm and neck and eventually into her brain, that is it. All progress will be lost in the game and the game will end. This keeps you on your toes and can really make the combat and escape scenes that bit more terrifying. As I stated, I got to grips with the combat as it was on easy, and as such I was very comfortable that I would see the story through without being defeated too many times in combat. However, in one section of the game you have to complete a number of puzzles to gain a greater sword that is capable of defeating a god. In one of these you need to run around a burning building, it seems. While finding the rune symbols you usually need to solve a puzzle and then solving the puzzle before the flames catch up with you. I did not realise this was a scene in which you needed to act fast when I first entered the area, so I got caught out. After that it seemed as though I had caused a glitch, and now every time I entered the area from a respawn the fire was already raging and I did not have time to get to the first safe area. As such, I had to retry this section of the game a number of times before deciding that the only way I was going to do it was by making a lap of the area without collecting any of the runes and then going round again on a second lap and collecting them that time, once I was ahead of the flames. Perseverance saw me through, but by then the rot had travelled all the way up Senua's arm and the rest of the game had me on edge the whole time, as I did not want to have to start over from this point, as I felt I was getting close to the end. Now that I have finished the game on the easy combat difficulty and seen the story through, I am willing to go back and try it again on the harder difficulties, just to see if the challenge makes the game more fun, and also to snag the one achievement I missed, which was to find all of the totems in the game. I'm pretty sure I only missed one and I know where it was, so hopefully I will get it on the next run and get the full 1000G from this game. I got 900G from the standard playthrough without taking care that I focused on all of the totems, so it's not that bad a score without it. So, there we have it, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. This game scores an 88 on Metacritic with a user score of 7.3. The average time to beat the game is around 7 to 8 hours, and the game has 14 achievements to collect for your 1000G. When I finished the game initially I thought, well, that was a little bit underwhelming. The amount of hype I'd heard from the game set me up for much more. The fact that the studio Ninja Theory was well known for Heavenly Sword and the DMC Devil May Cry game, I expected the combat to be much more fun and engaging. Since then, however, I have had a good night's sleep and a day to think about the game. I've also watched the featurette that accompanies the game and can be accessed from the main menu. As such, the game has now started to seep in and get under my skin. The feature in the game is just titled Hellblade Feature in the main menu. However, when the video starts to roll, the title card comes up naming it Hellblade Senua's Psychosis, which is much more fitting, I feel. The feature goes into the research and development for the game, and it tells you all of the reasons they are doing the things they're doing in the games and the thought process behind it. It is very interesting and well worth a watch after you've played the game, as it may have some story spoilers within. The way they came up with their ideas, however, is evident from this feature. For instance, the puzzles and runes I mentioned in the overview came from a mental health patient that was telling them stories about how they would waste away an entire day trying to unravel a puzzle they'd seen in the world that wasn't really there or wasn't even a puzzle. For instance, if they saw two trees aligned in a certain way, they would think that those two trees were a puzzle. They were trying to tell them something, to show them something that they could not see. And in fact, it wasn't. It was just two trees that were set in a certain way. It also went on to tell you about people that would have issues with voices screaming in their head that they would be fighting with constantly on a daily basis. I'd heard stories about people telling me that they had a voice in their head screaming at them to get out of their own home, their house, that they were not welcome there, that they just needed to get out. This could be down to mental health, it could also be down to substance abuse, or both, but it made me think about times when this had happened in my life. The fact of the matter is that the game has taken on much more than being just a game. It's made me think about things from my past, it's made me look at things in a different light, and after all, isn't that what art is all about? In my mind, art is something that someone created that gets people talking about it, or has them having a bunch of feelings or emotions whilst looking at the item that they created. This game is exactly that. I am now talking to you about my experiences in it. It brought up a lot of memories for me and a lot of emotions. I myself, as far as I'm aware, have not suffered from any mental illness. However, I have been around or heard of or read about people that have, and this game seems to hit the nail on the head when it covers this subject matter. Anyone that does actually suffer from the mental illness may play the game and think, no, it's not quite like that. But I think from the perspective of someone from the outside looking in, this game covers it in a very good way, in a way that we can all understand to some degree. For this reason, the game now earns a higher score than it would have done yesterday. Yesterday I was looking at a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Today I'm up in the 8 or 9 region. I'm not going to give it a 9 because I do understand that it is a game and it's meant to be played and it's meant to be enjoyed as a game. And in that respect, I feel the combat, the length, and the linear story was a little bit lacking. Had the combat been a little bit more fleshed out and more varied? Had there been more to it? More of a backstory to the characters surrounding Senua? Or maybe even a self-discovery sort of section that helps the player understand the mind state that Senua is in. The game then could have got a higher grade. I say these examples just in a way to extend the gameplay, not that I feel that anything was missing. They get their points across, it all kind of makes sense in the end. With the video that accompanies it and a little bit of research, it takes on a much bigger form than the game initially gave me. But that is it. As a game itself, you do need to look outside of the game, you do need to experience that feature video. You maybe even do have to do a little bit of research on the mental illnesses portrayed within the game to fully understand what the developers were going for here. So as this is a Game Pass or Play review, I have to review it on its gameplay, and as such, Games Done Wrongish gives Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice 8 out of 10. That's my impression of the game. What is yours? Did the game and its featurette make you look at things differently than you once did? Perhaps none of it made any sense to you and the whole thing just seems a little bit stupid. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below if you've played it. I would love to hear what other people took away from this game and their thoughts afterwards. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. If you like this video, please consider watching another. 2 suggestions will be on screen now. Also, if you have not subscribed already, please do so by clicking the icon in the middle of this screen. Every view and subscription will go a long way to helping the channel grow, and in turn will result in more content for you. Thank you, and until the next time, goodbye.